Alright, so I'm David Bennett, and I play the Spine in Steam Powered Giraffe. And we're going to be doing my makeup today. I do this quite often, but this is the first time I've actually filmed it, where it's not been a joke. So, the first step is to apply lipstick. And the kind I'm using is Graftobian. I'm not quite sure if that's how it's pronounced, but this is the kind I use. So I usually go back and touch up the black makeup later on, but I put it on first. And the reason for putting on the black first is that the silver kind of eats away at the black if you try to put the black on top of it. It's not impossible, it just it looks a lot darker if you put it on first. And then you can touch it up later. I'll do the lips and the eyes and the eyebrows first, though. For the eyebrows and eyes, I use a Revlon. Yes, this is a Color Stay Liquid Eye Pen. Now, John and Rabbit use a water-based black from Snazaroo. However, since I have to apply mine before the silver, I found it easier to just use a pen. And I do have a lot more black than they do. They're usually using the black for their necks and stuff. And I actually do silver on my neck. So I'm going to do this now, and you'll kind of see the process. Listen, John got to borrow my car, so he's going to be over here at 12. Alright. So we're going to put on makeup there. Could you send Sam a text message to double check he's sure he's going to show up at 12?
Sure. What about Raoul? I don't know what phone he uses.
It's fine, whatever. Alright, the eyes are now done. I'll touch those up after I put the silver on. Now it's time to do the eyebrows. Now it's time to fill the eyebrows in. Now once I get the silver on, I'll be able to touch up and make these a little more even, but right now it's literally just making sure everything is filled in. Now we get to the silver. I use a Maron metallic powder. There we go, Maron metallic powder. This is silver. It comes in copper, gold, and bronze as well. John obviously uses the gold, and Christopher uses the copper. Christopher and John also use silver every once in a while to accent their own makeup. With this Maron metallic powder, you want to mix it with the Maron mixing liquid. They sell both of these in stores. They're not too expensive, but when you buy as much as we do, yeah, I guess it does get pretty pricey. That's why, you know, it costs money to do our act. So anyways, I found the perfect thing to mix the makeup in. It's this glass candle holder. Yeah, it doesn't seem to deteriorate as fast as like plastic or something, and it's nice and smooth for mixing. So I just go ahead and I mix this as I need it. I just put a little bit in. I'll just tap it in there until you get, you know, a good chunk, if you can see that. And then I just take the bottle of liquid and I kind of eyeball this. There's no real magical science or anything behind it. It's literally just eyeball it. I don't actually mix it completely though. I know Rabbit and John actually mix the entire thing together, but I find that that means your consistency will be different every time you mix it, unless I don't know, unless you get it down. So what I do is I kind of play it by ear, like when I need more liquid or when I need less liquid. So I kind of just take my brush and let me see if I can get a good shot of this. Not really. Okay. And I just kind of pick up some of the powder and pick up some of the liquid. And kind of dab it around. And then I always start somewhere that's not going to drip, because when I first start it usually is pretty runny. So I'm going to start on my lips. And the brush I'm using is just a regular, I believe it's a nylon brush. I do the small one first. I have a bigger brush that I cover large areas with. But the small one lets me get around all the black areas first, because I have to put the black on before the silver. And that's probably the most interesting thing you're going to learn about this makeup. Alright, someone just called me and kind of ruined where I was at. Okay. So anyways, Rabbit and John have a lot more detail with their makeup, so mine's actually pretty boring. But, believe it or not, it takes us roughly about the same time. I think I can get mine done a little quicker just because I don't have so much work to do. It just, going around this black takes the longest. Starting to look like a robot. Hair is getting in the way. Having a hard time getting the mirror to be close to my face and have the camera still catch my entire face. So if you only see a small part of my face when I'm doing makeup, well, you know the reason. I'm trying to really get in there to see what I'm doing. Black's sorta even. I'll be going back and touching all that up. The most important thing is to make sure that I get the silver where I want it, and then I can always go back and add black on top of it. Like I said, it doesn't actually work very well, but it's enough to touch up some of this stuff. Making the eyes round and stuff. It's pretty noticeable when I do screw up, but it's pretty impossible to get it perfect, especially, you know, when you're moving from your right eye to your left eye. And it's not very easy. But then again, no one's perfect anyways. And you always have to remember the 10-foot rule. If it looks okay from 10 feet away, then you're good, because most audience members are not right up into your face. And even when they are, like after a show, it's usually all melted and not looking very good anyways. That's just the reality of being in makeup for several hours. It looks really good when you first have it on, but as the day wears on, it looks less and less amazing. But hopefully, when you are in makeup all day long, hopefully it gets darker, and that also helps, because at nighttime it's really hard to make out where it's starting to chip and stuff. For the most part, this makeup stays on pretty well. It's pretty water resistant too. You can probably jump in the shower and you wouldn't wash away too much of the silver, so you actually have to use soap. I am now switching to the bigger brush. I haven't actually added any more makeup yet, so this it's going pretty far right now. I'll probably add a lot more when I have to cover my entire neck, including the back. And now I just kind of work my way around. I never really do it in the same order. I kind of just put on the makeup whenever I kind of want to in a specific place. Change it up. Sometimes I'll start with the eyes, then do the lips. I don't know. Sometimes I'll do the ears. But the process is the same. Oh yeah, I get right up into the nose. You got to. Doesn't make me sneeze or anything. This makeup actually is pretty comfortable. It's not as bad as like cream makeup. They have some metallic creams, and we've used those before a long time ago when we first started. But we kind of found what worked. This metallic powder is pretty light, and you can actually put it on without any alcohol solution mixing with it. But it doesn't have the same sheen, and then it gets all over the place when you touch your face, when it's just powder. This kind of like, it dries and kind of, you know, hardens, doesn't really get anywhere. You can touch it and a little bit will come off, but the only thing I have a problem with is because I do my neck, I have to worry about it getting on the collar of my shirt, and when there's sweat on my neck and coming down from my head, it does kind of reactivate the powder, and then it kind of drips down and it becomes liquid again. But that takes quite a bit of sweating. Rubbing off when it's dry, it doesn't happen too often, and it looks pretty decent from far away. But at the end of a long concert or something, I always have silver on my shirt. I could probably alleviate that problem if I did a black neck, like John and Christopher do. But I don't want to. I want to do the silver neck. I haven't figured out a better way to do it. I tried, you know, putting latex on top of it and stuff. That just takes away the metallic sheen of it, and then it just looks gray. So there's really no way to stop that. You know, if you're filming something, you can just touch up in between takes or whatnot. At some of our shows, what we've been doing now is, you know, we have 2 sets, and then we can take a break in between, you know, cool off, and then touch up our makeup as much as possible. In fact, the last show we did, I came off stage and my entire left eye was completely gone. The black had just sweated away and took some of the silver with it. So I had to wait till I cooled off a bit and reapply that as best as possible. But there were stage lights, so it wasn't terribly noticeable after I touched it up. It's just makeup does not go on to sweat very well, so once you start sweating, it's really hard to touch up. You just gotta kind of cool off. When we perform at the San Diego Zoo, we have lots of time to cool down, so we're never usually completely sweaty. The first few sets are in the sun, but by the second one the sun's pretty tame at that point. And it's San Diego, so it never gets that hot. But we're in suits and all black, so I guess that would be difficult no matter where you are. Unless it's snowing. Okay, I'm gonna be quiet for a bit and just continue this process. I'm probably delaying it by talking, but I like taking my time. It's never good to rush. So yeah, I do get in right into the ear. All the nooks and crannies. I don't really go in my ear canal because you can't really see it, but I do get all in there. It does stay in the ears a while if you don't get it out when you wash it, but as long as I've been doing it, it's not really a big deal. I mean, Christopher and John, once again, I believe they do black for their ears, so it saves them a little bit more surface area with the metallic powder. I do go through a lot more metallic powder than they do. Not too noticeably, much more, but because I have a lot more surface area than they do, it does. And plus, the silver, it can go on pretty thin. I believe the golden, the copper does go on a little thicker. I think the reason for that probably has a little bit to do with copper and gold are a little more earth-tony, and that kind of matches the skin color of us Caucasians. And silver is kind of such a stark contrast to the skin tone that you can really notice when skin's showing through. So if you put it on too light, it does seem almost transparent, and you can kind of see the skin here. I don't really have, here's a good example right, maybe you can't really see it in the camera, but right there's a little skin color showing through. I don't know, maybe the light is not really showing it, but it's really subtle. You could never tell unless you got really up close. Speaking of thickness of the makeup, if you put this stuff on too thick, it will start cracking, and then it'll flake everywhere. There always is some flaking even when it's a thin layer, but because when it dries, you know, your mouth moves a lot. And you've probably seen this with even cream or water-based makeup too. It really depends on how much you're putting on your face. You'll see some mimes and their mouths will just be completely like cracked everywhere. And that's usually normal because, you know, your mouth moves a lot and it's it kind of breaks up the makeup that's on there. But if you do it light enough, you really won't have that problem. I kind of don't even really think about it anymore, so even though it differs every time I put it on a little bit, I think I kind of know how much to put on at this point. I'm actually running out of makeup now, so I have to put some more in there. I don't mix a big batch, because, you know, if you don't use it all, then you're kind of stuck with this mixed liquid that you can't really save. So I just mix it as I go. I think John and Christopher do something similar, but I believe they probably they do mix a big thing, because I've seen Christopher mix quite a big batch of it. But I believe he knows how much to mix. I don't think I've seen him throwing away too much. The stuff is expensive, so you don't want to waste it. I don't know how expensive it is. They keep upping the price, but I think this bottle's about $7, and this bottle's about $7 as well. I have 2 of each right now that I got the last time I got makeup, and it lasts pretty long. When we were doing the zoo, we probably went through 5 or 6 bottles of each. One liquid usually lasts longer than the powder. Sometimes it doesn't, though, depending on how much you use. I've definitely made powder last quite some time when I don't have any money to buy a new bottle. But let me just go ahead and put some more makeup in this glass thing. How about a little history lesson? Not a very great history lesson. It's a steam powered giraffe history. So when Upgrade was still in the group, she actually used a pearlescent makeup. It was a cream though. It had a little metallic sheen to it, and she mixed this pink stuff with some orange, I believe. Or actually, I think she tried a few different things. I think what she used for the most part was a metallic cream pink, and then she had this glitter powder that went on top of it, and that made it even sparkle a little more. There was no actual pink Maron metallic powder, but I think pink is an easy enough color to go over flesh tones because it, I mean, if you're Caucasian, and it's pretty easy. So if you're trying to do a different color, unique one, you know, well, they've got metallic powders out there that are just like ours, but for some of the more vibrant colors like blue and purples and stuff, you're going to have to probably go with a cream or a water base. And I've never really tried any of the metallic water-based ones. I'm sure they exist. The creams obviously are the easiest way because you kind of just slather it on. The problem is with creams is it's pretty uncomfortable, and you know, you can touch it and it really never dries, and it's just awful. Even if you put powder on top of it, it's just, no one wants cream on their face. When we were doing stereotypical mimes, we all preferred the water-based white. The only difference between the cream and the water-based for the white makeup is, well, exactly the same. It's a lot more pleasant to have the water base on your face than the cream. But the cream covers really easily. With the water base, you'd actually, you know, you could put a whole thing of white on your face and it would still look transparent. So what you had to do is you'd get some white powder, and that's kind of like your setting powder. And they make translucent and skin color, and as well as white. And if you use the white powder in conjunction with the water-based white, you can get a really nice white face that's not going to be too uncomfortable. It does crack after a while, just like any makeup, but that's just how it goes. But I haven't done white face in a long time. So when I do my neck, I go a little bit below where my shirt's going to cover. Obviously I have a tie, so it doesn't really matter, but I do it anyways. Probably because it's hard to get out of the habit from when I didn't wear a tie and had my shirt closed all the way up to my neck. I kind of just stretch around. I always do the back of my neck with a mirror, or if I'm lucky, I've had other people do it. Unfortunately, you know, I like doing it myself. So, I kind of prefer doing it myself because I feel like I know how to get it the way I want it to look. It'd be nice in the future to not have to do this every time, because it's not unenjoyable, but just knowing that you have to devote, you know, about an hour and a half to 2 hours to get ready kind of is like, meh, not very great. But, you know, we each do our own makeup. I give myself about an hour for the makeup and a half an hour to get into costume. And that's usually all I need to get ready. Though 2 hours kind of is better. I don't like rushing, and I always like being on time. So I've been late in the past, but not very often. I think we've got it down to a science at this point. I'm going to try to do the back a little bit. My hair's not actually black, it's dirty blonde. But I do black because it just makes sense with the robot. I think I dyed my hair for the first time right when I got out of college for a play, and I guess I just preferred black. It was like, yeah, simple color. I like it. You know, I guess dirty blonde is kind of boring. Everyone has brownish hair, so... Though I guess dyed black hair is a lot darker than natural. I don't know. I ran out of room on my camera. Had to delete some Angry Birds. No, I didn't delete Angry Birds. I deleted something else. What was it? Minecraft Pocket Edition and the Grand Theft Auto for my phone. Because I hadn't actually started that one. So I thought I'd free up some more space so I could finish this time lapse. Makeup. Okay, I think I'm right to the point where I can start doing the back of my neck. Let me just touch up here. Anyways, because my hair is not naturally black, you can kind of see here, maybe you can't, but you know, it's you can kind of see where the dye line is as my hair grows out. Maybe you can't, I don't know. But, I don't always want to keep dyeing my hair every single week or whatever. And I think the last time I dyed my hair was maybe a month ago. Or less, probably. But, in between dye jobs, what I can do is I can actually use this Revlon Color Stay pen to touch up my hairline. And I don't do that too often. Like for shows, it doesn't really matter because I feel like no one's going to be noticing it. But for photo shoots and stuff, I definitely put the black on. I don't want it to run or anything for a show as well, and I don't want these big giant black lines sweating down where my hair is. But I don't usually sweat when we're just filming or something, so that shouldn't be a problem. Oh, and that's what we're doing today. We're filming more for the Steam Powered Draft DVD. It should be pretty fun. Well, I don't know if the DVD will be out by the time this video is live on the Patronism site, or wherever it's being viewed. I should know, because, you know, Chris and I are the ones that run everything, but I'm just leaving it up for interpretation. You never know. Maybe something else will happen. Come along. But, it's... Sorry, I just had to get my ear. I don't even know why I had to put so much time. Anyways, yeah, I touch up my hairline. But also, I used to have longer hair, but after a while it just got to the point where I'd rather not pin my hair up inside my hat, and it just gets even hotter, and I just started cutting it really short, because I mean it looks better with the hat anyways. I don't know what I would prefer if I was just doing it for myself. I guess I've had longer hair for a while, but since I've started going bald and all that, people have told me that shorter hair looks better on me anyways. I don't really know. I don't have to look at me as much as everyone else does, so... yeah. I mean, Christopher just shaved his head when he started going bald. I've been hanging on to my hair, though. Plus, it makes for a good robot. I mean, you don't really see the top of my head when I have a hat on. But I know I'm not really a hat person in real life. I don't know, I don't really care for hats, wearing them. I guess I could, but it's not an accessory that I want to really wear. Okay, add a little more liquid to this powder, and I'm going to do the back of my neck. I actually can use a side mirror that I have over here. It's a medicine cabinet. And I can kind of get the side right here. I'll have to whip out my pocket mirror for the rest. So sorry if it's going to get so up close. You're not really going to see me doing this. I think there's a way. I'm just touching up the side. Maybe I'll turn around and then you'll see how it works. The hairline's a tricky one because it kind of just fades away unless you have a really hard hairline, especially with short hair or long hair, which covers up. You know, you don't really have to go to the end of your hairline. But this one is you kind of have to overlap it a little bit. Not to the point where there's silver in your hair, but enough that it's inside the hairline. Okay, I think you can see this, yeah? Okay, good. Let's see if I can see it. This is kind of tricky. Obviously my hairline is not very even. I think it kind of is lopsided, kind of goes to one side. You just kind of touch it up, whatever. Most people don't see the back of my neck anyways, but for filming, I guess it's pretty important too, so there I'm using like every mirror I have in here just to make sure I'm not missing an angle. So I just go over it. So some of the hair will be silver, but it's not one of those things. We're not really filming the back of my head too often. Just doing it for just in case. Okay, that's usually it. I think that's pretty much all I have to do regarding the back of my neck. Okay, so now I've got the base silver on. Now I'll go back and make sure I don't have anything missing. Kind of take some liquid and just smooth out any of those places that look kind of funky. Though you don't want to put too much liquid back on top of what you already did, because it will, get thinner and thinner as you do that. But sometimes, you'll put too much on one side. So I'm just using, half of my thing is liquid on the bottom, and then there's more powder on the rest. Looks like I put too much powder in. I'll try to use as much as I can to cover up stuff, but I'm probably going to have to put some back in the bottle. And that's the best part. If you don't mix it, you can actually, just make sure you use up all the water in one half of your mixing thing, and you can kind of just knock or tap the rest of the powder back into your bottle, so you're not wasting any. Yes, very conservative, I know. I'm not really looking at the camera that much. Anyways, let me just get more hairline here. Kind of got too much in my hair, but whatever. My hat will cover it. I bet Christopher will say that the silver is the worst makeup to work with. Though I've never worked with the other makeup, so I wouldn't know, so I'm kind of biased. But I'm just happy that I picked the color silver when we were all picking robot colors. I think when we first started, John got blue makeup to be a blue robot, and I don't know what Christopher did, something in between. Eventually we kind of simplified it. Actually, my makeup hasn't changed that much. John and Christopher's have. Christopher has the most. But mine has stayed the same. I kind of evolved mine after Christopher and John kept adding more detail. I was like, I don't really have much to do. I didn't want any super hard lines on my face. I've tried it a few times before in the past, going to Balboa Park. I don't think there's any pictures or footage video online of that, but I never really liked the look of it. It just looks kind of weird with the silver. I think the difference is, I think it has to do with contrast. Where John and Rabbit, it's not as different of a contrast between their black and their base color, gold or whatever. Especially with Christopher, he can do highlights of silver and stuff in brighter colors than the copper to bring out his face. But my entire face is white. So if you look at Mimes, it's like, this is kind of exactly what you're getting, except the white is now silver. The only thing that I have been able to really do, I know I could do some more harder details, but I do shading where my cheekbones are. You can actually see them right now, so it's not very hard for me to figure out where they go. I haven't put anything on yet, that's just shadows, but I do that in the jawline, and that actually makes the character, complete. I never really liked the look of the character in pictures until I put the definition of the cheekbones and the gauntness and the jawline, and it really makes the character seem a lot older and stuff. Anyways, I'm going to go touch up some of this black. It's my least favorite part because I always feel like I can never get the black completely good. But it'll look fine. I don't like settling, but sometimes you just have to just go with what you did for the day. Because, as everyone knows, if you try to be a perfectionist, you'll never get it right. So, if you see an area, all you can do is make sure you focus on that next time the problem with doing it so many times is sometimes you get in the habit of just doing something, and then when you do make a mistake, you're kind of like, oh shoot, I didn't really plan to make a mistake, so now I have to waste more time trying to fix it. Sometimes I have just put silver on top of the black and redone the black, but usually that doesn't work. So because the black shows through and silver doesn't cover the black doesn't really cover the silver. But it's, I think mine's simple enough that I don't really have to worry about too many errors. My eyebrows change thickness all the time, but my hat usually covers up at least half my eyebrows, because I kind of tilt the hat to the side just slightly. But it never looks terrible. I guess my eyebrows are pretty thick this time. If I wanted to, I could take off some on the top, but I don't know, I think it looks okay. We'll see with the hat. I don't know. Really thick eyebrows. But thin ones would not be fun, right? Everyone does thin eyebrows. I think I've always, even with my makeup, I've already done super thick eyebrows. Groucho Marx style. That's really not my inspiration, I just kind of do it. The problem with black is you can always do too much, but it's really, once you put too much on, it's just really hard to get it off. And that's pretty much with anything, you gotta limit yourself. You can always add more, but you can't really take away what you put on. Not very easily, anyways. So even though I go through and touch up my eyes, they always fade. The minute you blink, you're like wiping away some of the makeup. Your eyes fold, and they kind of, especially the top eyelids, and the black just kind of rubs away on it with the eyelids, or on the eyelids. And then inevitably you just don't have much black in your eyes. But there's not much you can do about that, just touch up in between stuff. I've used darker makeup, thicker makeup and stuff before. It's just not worth the hassle though, especially since it all wipes away eventually. Plus there's a lot more, these pens are a lot easier on the eyes. I don't feel like I have this giant cream makeup on my eyes. It's not as thick, it's a lot more comfortable to put on. I mean, I go through a lot of them. These are like, what, $7 for these, and I usually keep like 5 of them on me. And, they start getting less and less liquidy and more, I don't know, dried up. So I keep a few on me just in case I run out of one, but it's a lot easier than putting liquid makeup on your face, which I've tried that before. And the water base is, I can't get that to look dark enough, especially when you're trying to do details like this. And black cream is just a nightmare to work with. Plus, if you get it in your eyes, it's not very fun either. And this stuff, it's made for you to go around your eyes. Anyways, I think that looks okay. I'm gonna touch up lipstick again. You can actually use I've used the black as before the lipstick before. The only thing is that it kind of makes your lips kind of dry, where this keeps them more wet. I do like the look of the color pen on the lips better than I do with the lipstick, because the lipstick kind of looks transparent and doesn't stay black for that long. But with the lipstick I can touch up pretty easily. With this one it's kind of like it cracks and stuff. So I stick with the lipstick. And I usually just touch up the lipstick as much as I can throughout the day. I go through a lot of them. It's like $8 for these or something. Cheap black makeup doesn't look good. Cheap black lipstick doesn't look good, so it doesn't have the blackness that you need. So go out of your way to get good black lipstick. I went through a few of them before I found a nice brand, and then that brand got discontinued and I found a different one. And yeah, Graftophobian, or whatever the heck it's pronounced as. Pretty decent stuff. And let that be a lesson to you. If you buy cheap, it's going to look cheap. But don't get ripped off. I mean, shop around and you'll realize that you know, Mehron is usually the same price no matter where you go. We buy most of our makeup from Gypsy Treasure and here in La Mesa. Though, since Christopher and I do not have cars, because we're poor, and, you know, we want to not have our expenses be through the roof when we're trying to support ourselves just on Steam Powered Giraffe alone, we order our makeup online, and we'll gladly pay the shipping, especially when we do like a large order of, you know, 4 bottles each or whatnot. And for the zoo that was really helpful because we really didn't have time to stop for makeup unless we needed it as an emergency. But we plan pretty accordingly. Okay, now comes the fun part. And this is not the fun part, I say that sarcastically. I'm not very sarcastic right now, though. I've got to do these shading lines. And this is really easy to screw up, and it never, sometimes I get it perfect, sometimes I won't. The easiest way to do this is to look for the natural shadows of your cheeks and gauntness of all that, the cheekbones and the cheeks and all that. And I can see it pretty easily if I just move my face back and forth. But with this, you actually want to go a little bit lower than your actual shadows. The reason for that is, I don't know, it just looks better. It's kind of like if you put it on top of the shadows, it just looks kind of weird. But if you always go lower than you think you need to go, it looks better. So I go right around there. This is really hard to get symmetrically right, and I'm not that talented, so I kind of just start at my sideburn, and I use my eyeball as a point to figure out how far I go over. And I just go down like that, and I just leave it like that, and I do the other side. I'm already making the angle too steep for this one, but I can fix that. So now I have these lines on my face. They don't look like much. Kind of look stupid right now. Now I take my finger, it doesn't have any makeup on it, maybe a little bit, and I just kind of touch it. I'm actually using the lipstick, I forgot to mention that. I'm using the Gaffabin lipstick. I've tried other stuff, blending with water-based and stuff. Once again, it's because of the silver so weird, it just doesn't work very well. This is sticky enough, I think, because it's lipstick. It actually works pretty well, and you can blend it, and you know, you just use your finger. You have to press pretty lightly though, because every time you're trying to blend it, you're actually taking a little bit of silver off too. So if you look closely at these, the black shading, you'll see that you can see some of the skin color through. But that shouldn't deter you from it because it still looks decent from far away. There's probably better ways to do it. This is the easiest for me. It's less about, you know, super high quality. I mean, obviously we try to do that, but when you realize that you have to do it so often, there's just no way you could spend 2 hours trying to get this completely good. I mean, I'm not that talented. Even though I've been doing it for a while, like, it's more about that I've just gotten repetitious. I mean, I don't think I'm very good. I think Christopher is a lot better than me. I think John's a lot better than than me as well. But for what I have to do, I think I've gotten it down, and I only improve. Now that I kind of have this, I do a little bit more. I go over here and I make it a little triangle right here. And I just blend that in a little. And then you get this nice, I don't even know how to describe it, hopefully you saw that. I did one line here and one line there, blended it, then I just did another line that connected to there to make it a little more, and that, it looks okay, you know, it's close up, it looks like nothing, far away it kind of looks like shadows. In pictures it looks, I think it looks pretty good. I'm going to do the same thing to this side. Being symmetrical is pretty difficult. You know, I can already see that this one's higher than that one, but the best thing is our faces are not naturally symmetrical, and I mean, most people won't notice if I'm moving around stuff. I'll take, once you blend it, it kind of gets on your finger, you can see the silver wiping away. I'll use another finger to go back over after I've blended enough. This stuff is pretty easy to put too much on, and your face will just be completely black after a while if you put too much on. So be conservative with your makeup. You can always add more, but it's really hard to take away it. And I have before when I first started doing the shading, even sometimes when I'm lazy, or just not that talented one day for some reason. I'm not very talented anyways. But sometimes I will have to cover up everything with silver again, which you can actually do with the lipstick pretty easily. Or you can actually just wipe it away and then put the silver back on top of it. Wait for it to dry for, a minute or so, and then put it back. And try this again. I usually look into different mirrors and stuff to see, because, here I have a lot of light going towards me and at different angles, so there's not too many shadows on my face, but, or there's actually a bunch, but they kind of are diffused. But, when out in daylight, the shadow's going to be hitting from one point, so you got to see what it looks like from different angles. And one side usually looks better than another side, and today, I don't know. I think this side looks better, but I don't really know. Okay, the last step is to, maybe this isn't the last step. Well, it's one of the last steps. Is to make the jawline. Because I have silver in my neck and on my face, it kind of creates this, I don't know how to describe it. There's no definition from where my neck and face ends. I mean, you can probably see it now with shadows, but when you see in pictures, even when we first did it, early on, like right straight from here, you would not see where my chin and neck ended. I mean, I have a chin, it's pretty defined, I believe, but with the light that's just like engulfing you completely, the white kind of reflects a lot of light back, and you look like you don't have a chin. And ever since I've started adding a line to my jawline, it really pops it out. I was thinking about it for a while. I tried just doing a stiff line. That looked weird. It looked like I had some kind of weird, stupid beard or something, thin beard. But, I talked to Christopher and John and stuff, and they all agreed that I should probably shade too. And, I've asked Christopher for his help because, Okay, so, I just kind of make this as thick as possible keep running out of room on my phone. Obviously I don't have the 32 gigabyte iPhone 4, I just have the 16 one. I'm not complaining, I didn't really think I'd need that much space. But, filming for this long does take its toll. So all I'm doing is putting this lipstick everywhere. I kind of make a real dark line under my chin. Kind of go back as far as I can, because when you don't have much there when you have your neck like this. So you gotta put a little more under there. Now, the difficult part is taking an unmakeup finger and just blending it in. I kind of just push it down, and you have to be light with this. Just pushing it down so it goes down to your neck. I don't know if the shadows are really showing here. But just do that, do the other side. Kind of do it as much as I can. Use my whole finger. Just pushing it down. I think the side's a little thicker than that side, so I'm going to add more here. Get down here, I kind of put a line down here because I like the shape of how this looks. It doesn't look like much when you have your neck like here, but there's some aesthetic pleasingness to it or something. I don't know, I'm not an artist. Not an artsy artist. Then I just take now as you can see my finger's really black, so I'm going to take this finger, doesn't have much makeup on it, and go over the top one and just kind of smooth out where the black meets the silver at the top, since I did the bottom first. It takes off a little bit of black. Use another finger over here, do that, and this will just smooth out the top a little. Don't go back over, because then you'll get a little error like that, and I'll just have to rub that out here. Okay, so it looks okay. It's not terribly perfect, but it don't need to be. I'm just going to touch up where I see that the black's kind of not as thick. This kind of does put your makeup or lipstick in a very weird shape, but whatever. I don't care. I mean, I do care, but it's not a big deal to me. Yeah, the hard part with silver is you have so much reflection that, you know, you can move and you're like, oh, why does that line disappear? Because it's just so bright. It's really tough to have on your face because it shines back. Apparently it repels giraffes too, because at the zoo I really wanted to feed a giraffe, but it was afraid of me. All of them were. So that wasn't very fun. But don't worry, the zookeeper, or whoever was there, the lady managing the giraffes, said it would be fine. I talked to her beforehand and she let me come up and do it. So, and I don't know if they were surprised or what. But that was my experience. And I didn't go back out of makeup. Because those giraffes, they should like me for who I am. This isn't me. I don't really do this. Okay, so I'm pretty much done. I'm not really liking how my eyes are. I feel that they're just not as round as I would like. They're kind of too almondy. But it doesn't look terrible, and from a distance, you know, they kind of just look like eyes anyways. Eyebrows are kind of thick. Shading's pretty decent though, I guess. That's pretty much it. I think we're done. This is how I look. I don't ever really I don't do the spine without a hat. And I guess it would be pretty hard because I'm balding so much. I'd have to like put makeup all in here, and that just wouldn't look good with the hair. I'd probably have to get a wig or something to really make it look like it would work, because my hair's so thin up here. You would just see the skin color through it. That's okay. There's hats. I mean, if you're building a robot, I mean, you know, a hat gives you a lot more room to put machinery and circuit boards and stuff inside. I would imagine. I guess in the comic it doesn't really show that, but it's a lot easier to build a robot without the top of your hat. It's less to work on, right? So give your robots hats. Oh, not all of us have long, luscious hair like John. Oh, now I'm stretching. Okay, well, that's it. The next step would be to put the costume on, and I don't think I need a video for that. I mean, I guess there are some secrets that I have there that would be interesting, but not really. I mean, I put a shirt on, I put a vest on, I put a tie on, and I put gloves on. That's it. Okay, so hopefully this was informative. Probably not. Probably not as informative as John or Christopher's. But, yeah. Just because it's simple doesn't mean I don't put effort into it. I like the look of it. I don't really want to make any more changes. I mean, maybe it'd be cool to have rivets or something on my face, but I stay away from that because, you know, John and Rabbit already have that going for them. So I think, you know, minimalist. The keep it simple, stupid mentality. I think that describes me pretty well. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Is sometimes I'll put a little bit of the black that's on my fingers onto my nose. Kind of just gives a little bit of shading. Not noticeable enough. You know, you can't really tell, but I kind of just put it on the sides here and on the top, and that just breaks it up a little, gives a little more angular effect to it. But it's so subtle you can't really notice anyways, so it's kind of pointless for me to do it. That's it. I've already tapped the makeup powder back in to my Marilyn, so I put it into my bag. I don't really wash my brushes because there's really only alcohol in them and the powder, and they don't really get that dirty. I mean, I could wash them off, but they don't get stiff or anything like cream makeup or anything like that. In fact, if you have to clean up this powder if it spills, do not use water because it will turn into liquid and get everywhere. You should just vacuum it up and it'll come off pretty easily. Anything that doesn't, you know, vacuum up, then you probably should use water or cleaner with. But it gets everywhere, but it's not that hard to clean up unless it gets wet. It's hard to get off of a sink sometimes if it's been sitting there for a while. So make sure you clean up after yourself. I don't because it's my apartment and I like living like in a pigsty. No, I'm just joking. I do clean it up. But, you know, you'll start flaking no matter where you go. You can kind of... no, you can't really see in this video, but There's like little flakes every once in a while. You can kind of see them in the air as you look around. And that's just going to happen, especially when your mouth is moving as much as mine does. Yeah. I got a pimple there. Or maybe it's just, yeah. I don't remember having one, but yeah, there it is. I'm not going to blame it on makeup. I mean, I wash my face pretty thoroughly. I think people are just naturally dirty all the time, and I try to clean myself as much as possible. Not that I'm a neat freak, but I do like to be clean. But I feel pretty comfortable in this. The eyes and the eyebrows are the only thing that are really noticeable on my face. I mean, you can tell that you have makeup on when you have it on, but it's not uncomfortable, you know? It's pretty light, and, you know, I feel comfortable in it. It's not, I mean, obviously you don't want to be in it every day, but when we do the zoo for 73 days straight, you are in it. And it's nice to know that we can be in it without, you know, being terribly uncomfortable. And you just get used to it, you know, like, whatever. Some people don't like stuff on their face. I mean, I wouldn't either. I don't like putting sunscreen on my face or anything like that. The lipstick is kind of weird too. It's like, you know, you can feel it on there, but I'm sure women don't have mind. I know some women who cake makeup on their faces, and like, that's just pretty nasty myself. I've had girlfriends who've done that, but like, I don't, you know, just go all natural. That's better, you know. Maybe a little bit when you're going out, like eyeliner, but you don't need to cover up your face. I mean, I don't. And I'm like, I probably look better now than I do normally with silver, but whatever, you just gotta be yourself. And this isn't really myself, though. But I'm being a character, so it's an excuse. Alright, that's it. I'm sure if John ever does one, he'll be more interesting, and I know Christopher's already is interesting, because I don't know, he talks more about a bunch of stuff, and I just ramble on about nothing. Bye.